If you don't know what you're doing, YouTube absolutely ruins language learning. Like, yes, there are educational channels like mine that help you to learn how to do new things and learn to build new skills, like learning languages. But we need to talk about how YouTube completely dysregulates language learners and makes people quit. My name is Jamie, I'm a language coach. Let's talk about why YouTube ruins language learning for so many people and how to combat it. Because obviously, I use YouTube to communicate with you, so it's not all that bad. We just have to be a little bit more aware of it. Now, a brand new language learner or somebody who is interested in language learning might go onto YouTube and look up language learning. And then, because of YouTube's magical algorithms, they'll be shown all the most viral and interesting videos. But they won't see my videos. They won't be seeing ways to practice speaking a foreign language or Spanish grammar resources or most fun beginner language apps. Instead, you'll see videos about how somebody learned a language in 24 hours or how somebody surprised a bunch of native speakers by being able to speak their language. It's all shock and exaggerated claims to get you excited to click and watch the video and to make the creator money. And while there's nothing wrong with making money from these videos, what is wrong is teaching people that that is a healthy way to go about learning languages. It makes us chase fluency and want to show off how quickly and how perfectly we're learning a language. And then after you buy the course or you buy the app or whatever it is, you'll go through the app or course and then you'll open your mouth to speak the language and nothing will come out. So then we compare ourselves to everybody on the internet who's talking about how amazing it is to learn languages. And this causes a lot of shame and embarrassment and ultimately stops people from learning languages. Honestly, actually learning languages is difficult enough on its own. We don't want to put even more obstacles in front of people who are trying to learn languages by giving them all these toxic ideas that are not real. So instead, well, if you're watching this video, then you're already on the right path. But straight up, just don't watch those videos. And if you really must, if you really feel like you should at least watch what's going on, there's no harm in it, open up an incognito window and search for it on YouTube there. That way, YouTube won't think that you want to watch those videos more and then show them to you. Instead, think about what your specific problems are in a language and search YouTube for that, because there are so many videos, mine included, that have been made just to support those problems, including, if you watch my videos, language learning resources to help with those specific issues. The next issue is fake polyglots, or even real ones, honestly, that post videos just for the purpose of selling their course. Now, I personally have a lot of issues here, but I'm going to focus on one in particular, and that's that they recommend their course for every language learning, but not specifying that every language course is not for every language learner. You can watch, honestly, hundreds of YouTube videos all talking about one particular course and how wonderful and amazing it is. That doesn't necessarily mean it's wonderful and amazing for you, because instead of highlighting things like what kind of goals you can expect to achieve with a course, or what kind of language learner it's for, or what your interests might be, or even how you like to learn, is assumed that every language course is for every language learner regardless of anything. And all you have to do is find the right language course that is perfect for everybody. But it doesn't have to be that way. There are ways to know which resources will be better or worse for you without having to spend all of your time and money going through all these resources. Yes, that way it's my full course or just my language app search. Link below in the description. But a lot of people here on YouTube like to come on here and talk about their amazing experience and how they're so good at learning languages, and so you should buy their course, instead of trying to fix the problems that already exist with language learning. So instead of following the most famous popular polyglots on YouTube and just kind of following whatever they have to say, you can still watch them, you can still listen to them, but take it all with a grain of salt. People who have learned a bunch of different languages tend to be really biased towards strategies that have worked for them. And they assume that those are like the best strategies. They may be, they may not be, but there's no way for them to know if it will be for you, a perfect stranger. The next thing that goes wrong with people looking on YouTube for language learning help is when we spend more of our time researching ways to learn a language than actually learning a language. And I say that as somebody who has absolutely spent years doing this. While learning how to learn a language does take some research and learning and thinking and, all that good stuff, a lot of people, especially perfectionists, love to use this as procrastination, because learning a language is really difficult and it can be really scary to try. But what's not scary is typing in words into YouTube and watching YouTube videos. But it's productive, right? So if you are spending your time learning a language, but you're actually just researching how to learn a language and then not applying the strategies that you're learning to your own language learning goals, I need you to step away from YouTube and do some actual language learning, because you can't research your way into learning a language. You have to actually learn it and use it and, all that stuff, all that really scary stuff. Yes, other people's experiences and reviews can be helpful, but they're not you. So there's no way for you to know if somebody else's experiences are going to mirror yours unless you have your own experiences. I know that's really, really scary, but if you want to learn a language, you kind of gotta suck it up sometimes. The next thing to realize about using YouTube to learn a language is that everybody loves to talk about the same giant apps. Apps like Duolingo, Babbel, Pimsleur, Rosetta Stone, basically the names that you've heard of. It's not wrong to talk about these giant language apps, but there's so many other language learning resources that exist that are more beneficial to more language learners than just these big 4 or 5 different apps. Because for example, while Pimsleur is good for audio lessons, it can be really boring and doesn't actually really get you using the language in a conversational way. You can try something like Yask or Polygloss, which are very, very small, intimate apps, but will get you so much farther along in using the language that you're learning. And as always, links below in the description of all the resources that I mentioned in this video. Or instead of just using Duolingo for your Spanish grammar, you can use something like Ella Verbs, which is incredibly so much better for learning your Spanish conjugations. Far and away the very best you can do. But these are apps and resources that most people aren't talking about. Now, obviously, I am personally trying to change this in the industry, but I'm only one person. The issue is that these smaller apps do not have the advertising budget that giant corporations do. Yes, Duolingo is a corporation. It's not like a nonprofit. They make a lot of money. So instead of using these giant apps that maybe don't excite you that much and don't really feel like they would work for you, I really highly recommend you try some of the smaller apps that you maybe haven't heard of yet. And that's one of the reasons why I do my blog post reviews, because I can show you what it's like to use these language apps and if they are right for you or other alternatives. The next thing to know about how YouTube ruins language learning, and I've been there and I have done that, and you shouldn't do that anymore. People here on YouTube love to talk about the language strategies that have worked for them, which is amazing and excellent and awesome. However, people love to assume, again, that that's just a general, everybody should be using this strategy because I do. When this happens, and I'm talking about personal experience, is that you try all these different strategies and you kind of push yourself through them for a little bit, but eventually you give up. You finish, you're done. And there's a lot of that shame and guilt and frustration again. So when you try all these strategies that all of these famous polyglots are using, and they work, but they don't work for you, you assume that it's something wrong with you. There's an issue that's wrong with you, but it's not. The issue is that everybody loves to come on here and talk about their favorite language learning strategies as if they are the best for everybody. While I'm assuming that's not necessarily the intention of these people, it is what happens, because it happened to me and it's happened to all of my clients. Being able to understand how to differentiate between different strategies and what you're looking for is a skill that nobody else besides me and my channel really seem interested in doing. Because if you've been taught over and over and over again that the right strategies don't work for you, it's only logical to assume that you are the problem. I've been there and I can promise you that you are not the problem. It's just the knowledge that has been given to you. That knowledge is not complete. It's not wrong, but it's not inclusive of everybody's needs. Now, if you want more of an objective, inclusive approach to finding language strategies and language learning resources, click the link below to join my free course, which will teach you how to use my language app search, my free language app search, to find the resources that will be most beneficial to you in your language learning. And this is based on your target language, your level, your goals, things that are actually meaningful to you, not some polyglot, not some random stranger on the internet. So if you found this video valuable, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell to be notified when I post a new video all about how to learn a language every Wednesday. And make sure you grab my free course to learn how to combat all the issues that I discuss in this video. See you there.